Welcome to The Hypnotist, the show that gives you inside access to cutting-edge hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. Brought to you by the hypnotherapist demanded by celebrities, CEOs, and even royalty, Adam Cox. These recordings took place live from Adam's clinic in London's world-famous Harley Street. This podcast features powerful hypnosis, so do not listen while driving or operating machinery. This recording is not suitable for those with epilepsy or severe mental health issues. So, get yourself comfortable and enjoy today's episode of The Hypnotist.
Hi, it's Adam here, and in today's episode of The Hypnotist, you're going to be listening to a hypnosis session that is designed to create a sense of deep inner peace, but also a incredible amount of resilience. And it was actually created for a client that was going through a very, very difficult time. And without revealing any of the details, because confidentiality is key, as an external observer, hearing what happened, it was unjust, unfair, putting him in a lot of deeply stressful situations in many different levels. And I could empathize with that. And there was a tendency to not so much give up, but to kind of not invest any more time. And that can be tempting if you've put a lot of time and energy into something and not got what you wanted. There is this feeling of, well, am I damaging myself by putting even more time, even more effort into this thing? And that's why being discerning is one of the most important qualities someone can have. It's picking your battles, and there is a fine line between the sunk cost fallacy of knowing if you've put so much in, does it even make sense to put even more in? And a lot of people will think of a property. Let's say that you buy an old property and you intend to kind of make it more desirable to sell it for more. Some of these properties can be money pits, and that's where the sunk cost fallacy really becomes really real, because at what point do you put bad money after bad money with very little expectation of return? And that can happen with your time or any resource, time, energy, emotions. But the other side of that coin is learned helplessness. And picking your battles is important, because if you arrive at the conclusion that because you've lost a couple of battles, that you can't win any battle, then that can create a self-fulfilling prophecy. And if you're listening to this, you probably know at least 2 or 3 people in your life that have given up on a lot of goals, a lot of dreams, a lot of things that they want because they've had some early setbacks. And that learned helplessness can be very debilitating. So this uses a few metaphors designed to create a feeling of letting go of any pent-up pressure or stress or overwhelm to access a resourceful state. And there's a few metaphors here that are designed to make the game winnable. So if you're listening to this and you feel that you would benefit from having more resilience or confidence or motivation or determination or whatever it might be, and you would like to work with me individually on that for a bespoke session, there will be a link in the show notes where you can schedule a free 30-minute consultation call to explore working with me. For now, though, even though this was created for someone in very extreme circumstances, very unfair circumstances, the essence of this is tapping into a wellspring of resilience, inner peace, and resourcefulness, which I think most people would benefit from. So find a quiet, comfortable place where you won't be disturbed, relax, and enjoy the session. Take a deep breath in. As you breathe in a slow, calm, relaxed breath. As you exhale, just relax your eyelids and just feel that any feeling of stress or tension is slowly leaving your body in your outward breath. Meaning that as you breathe in and breathe out, you have this wonderful feeling of releasing tension. As you breathe in and breathe out, I want you to imagine there is almost a pressure container, maybe a pressure cooker, maybe what you imagine to be an old hydraulic engine from hundreds of years ago. And I want you to imagine that there is a gauge showing that the pressure locked in this particular container is dangerously high. As you breathe in and breathe out, just decide that in your outward breath, you're releasing that pressure. This pressure cooker is a cocktail of emotions, and it's dangerously high because the intensity of the emotions have been higher, more intense, and for longer than they normally would. I want you to imagine that anger is in this pressure cooker. Frustration is in this pressure cooker. I want you to imagine that doubt, anxiety, helplessness and hopelessness are all there in this dangerous cocktail in this pressure cooker. But as you breathe in, imagine breathing in a wonderful feeling of resourcefulness. And it's the resourcefulness that enables the pressure to be released. And feel that pressure leaving your body in your outward breath. Allow your outward breath to be longer, deeper. Imagine blowing out a candle several meters in front of you as you allow more and more of that pressure to leave your body in your outward breath. That's it. Breathing in resourcefulness and exhaling that pressure. And you start to notice sensations changing in your body. All of that pressure built up inside will cause tension, muscles to be tensed rather than relaxed. So as you breathe out that pressure, notice some of that tension diluting and dissipating, relaxing and fading away as you give permission to release the pressure and let go of that tension, enabling you to feel more relaxed, deeper relaxed, as you flow towards what you would describe as peace. Peace is just the absence of all of those cocktail of emotions that no longer serve you. Your natural state is calm, tranquility, and inner peace. Every breath takes you closer to that peace. Feel that you're recharging your batteries, and use the power of your imagination to imagine being on a beach with big waves, kind of waves perfect for surfing. And as you look at the waves, accept the suggestion that no wave is permanent. I want you to get a sense that every wave is temporary, some lasting a few seconds, some a minute or two, but they're all temporary. And I want you to imagine that Any of the emotions that you deal with in life are also temporary. There may be several waves coming, wave after wave, but each individual wave is temporary. I want you to imagine that a novice surfer would look at a big wave and try and avoid it. But to the experienced surfer, it's an opportunity to ride that wave. And they don't even mind that if by riding the wave they sometimes fall and crash into the ocean, because they know that the more waves they ride, the more experienced and skillful they become. And I want you to imagine life has thrown you some pretty big waves recently. But I want you to feel that you have the inner strength to start riding those waves, to start surfing those waves. You acknowledge the waves, but you also acknowledge that it's impossible to ride two waves at exactly the same time. So maybe in surfing, it's a good idea to be discerning, to pick the waves to ride and ignore the rest, and just feel this wonderful feeling of calmness, tranquility. I want you to feel that you are unleashing the resources to feel that no wave is too big. And even if there was a big wave, it would come, it would go, and in the future, another wave would come. I want you to imagine that some of these waves represent difficult emotions, but some of these waves represent wonderful emotions, victories, accomplishments, a sense of pride, integrity, creativity, and resilience. And you might feel resilient for a while, but even that wave will pass. But just know that it can come again, sometimes whenever you need it most. I want you to imagine there you are on the beach, and imagine that there is someone very important there with you. I want you to feel a connection between you and them, and imagine that this is happening in the future. You don't know when in the future, just that it is in the future. And I want you to get a sense that sometimes love is the most important ingredient to recharge those batteries, to top up feelings of resourcefulness. And if you can feel the resources getting stronger and stronger, and the pressure cooker is being released, perhaps, so the gauge is showing you it's now on a safe green level, let me know by nodding your head. Just for a moment, just imagine you're on that beach, and you're imagining a barnyard with a great big haystack. Imagine you're in that barnyard and you're looking for the needle in the haystack. I want you to imagine that you could try and do it manually, but it might take a great deal of luck and a great deal of persistence. I want you to imagine you're there in the barnyard and you see there is someone, an arsonist, a saboteur, setting fires around the barnyard. But I want you to feel that you have the resources to cope with those fires. Maybe it's a hose pipe. Maybe it's a big pail of water that replenishes itself instantly. It doesn't make sense to look for the needle in the haystack before putting out the fires. Putting out a fire when it's small contains it. Allowing the fire to get bigger makes it impossible to ever find the needle in the haystack. I want you to feel this intuitive ability to prioritize, to do the thing that has the biggest impact and frees up time to focus on finding a solution. If you can imagine putting out those small fires to give you time to find the needle in the haystack, let me know by nodding your head. And when you've put out those fires, I want you to imagine, for a while you've been trying to find the needle in the haystack, just using your fingers and your eyes. But you don't have to play by those rules. I want you to return to the haystack with an advanced, very effective, very sensitive metal detector. There is a needle in that haystack, and now you can find it easier than ever before. Feel the weight of that metal detector in your hands. And maybe the first thing you do is knock that haystack over so it's all on ground level. It's no longer a haystack, it's a manageable, almost carpet of hay on the floor. And feel the metal detector hovering over the hay until you hear a beep or a blip. You see a needle on the sensitivity rising up, letting you know there is some metal beneath. What was an impossible task before now feels completely winnable. You found the needle in the haystack. Hold it in your fingers and feel it, know it's real. And allow this needle in the haystack to be whatever you need it to be. A solution, an answer, a strategy. Just know that by prioritizing your time and implementing the right strategies, what felt unwinnable in one context is of course winnable in a different context. Still hold on to that needle in your fingers and return to that beach. Having a strategy, a solution, an answer, or an idea still requires the resources to turn a concept into reality. But as you relax, recharging your batteries on this beach, I want you to feel that every second on this beach is like an hour in reality. So in a few minutes, you can feel like you've had months on this beach. A sabbatical within your imagination to recharge your batteries, to replenish your soul, to give you a sense of being incredibly resourceful. There you are on the beach. And I want you to imagine there is a feeling of clarity illuminating your thoughts, bringing light to every challenge. As you breathe in and breathe out there on that beach, feel a profound sense of peace spreading to every cell of your body, calming your mind and your soul. Allow yourself to acknowledge the abundance in your life, seeing wealth in all the experiences and all of your capabilities. You can't change the weather, but you can change your clothing. So embrace acceptance of what you cannot change, focusing on your power to adapt. Allow hope to be your North Star, leading you through life's darkest moments. But also recognize your inner strength, a feeling that you're capable of overcoming any injustice. Imagine that you are a resilient warrior, unshakable in the face of adversity. That pressure cooker was forging the resilience within you. The strongest swords are forged in heat and pressure, and feel that all the pressure you've experienced means you're more resilient than you've ever been in your life before. Trust in your ability to rise above any situation with a sense of perspective, acceptance, but also power. I want you to visualize any stress in your body melting away, leaving behind a clear, focused mind. Activate a sense of discernment that you will pick your battles. You don't have to fight every battle at the same time. And you don't have to win every battle. Some of the greatest military strategists lost a few battles but won the war. Embrace the energy of hope as it fills your being with light and strength. And let go of what weighs you down so that you can rise lighter and more powerful than ever before. Some of the demands on you aren't real. If there's nothing you can do to change it, no action you can take, then accept it and allow the wave to pass and disappear. Allow the fires of life not to burn you and harm you, but to heat you and strengthen your spirit. Stand firm in your convictions. You are on a hero's journey, and adversity is what makes the hero. You have a quest. You have adversity. And every hero reaches a point where all seems lost, but they find the strength to dig deep, even deeper than before, finding a new level of power and strength. And when they tap into that, a glimmer of hope becomes a beacon, guiding them towards a future of possibility. As you breathe in and breathe out, feel the sand there on the beach. Look into the eyes of that person. The person that you're doing all of this for. And feel that there is a wellspring of resources that will never run dry. Take a deep breath in through your nose and out through your nose. Feel like you're returning to the present as you wiggle your fingers and wiggle your toes, connecting fully in the present moment, but feeling like you've had a 12-month sabbatical, feeling that some of those fires have been put out, feeling that it's possible to find the needle in the haystack, and feeling that you have an infinite wellspring of resources deep within you, starting to count to awaken you. 1, 2, 3, waking up. 4, 5, 6, more alert. 7, 8, open your eyes, open your eyes. 9, 10, wide awake, wide awake, wide awake.
Thank you for listening to The Hypnotist with Adam Cox, the show that gives you inside access to cutting-edge hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. To automatically receive the latest episodes, please subscribe. If you'd like to support the show, please share this episode with just one friend you think it could help. And if this episode helped you, please leave us a 5-star review.